So keep in mind that it doesn't really work that way. It's not Jews telling non-Jews what to do. It's God telling human beings what to do. God is the creator of heaven and earth. God created all human beings. God created Adam and Eve, and all human beings come from Adam and Eve, and later all human beings come from Noah. Now, when God creates something, there is a purpose in God's creation. God does not create for no purpose. God has given different parts of humanity different missions. The Jewish people, as the priestly class, so to speak, of humanity, were given the mission of bringing God into the world through the Torah and the 613 mitzvot of the Torah. But non-Jews also have a mission and a goal and a purpose for which they will get paradise. They will get eternal reward in Olam Haba, just as Jews do. And the mission of non-Jews are the Noahide laws that were given to humanity. So it's not Jews that are telling non-Jews what to do. It is God's mission for non-Jews. Now, ideally, you could almost say the Jewish people should have nothing to do with it. Non-Jews should know on their own the Noahide laws. They were handed down. What happened was, over the centuries, non-Jewish populations became disconnected from those roots, just as, unfortunately, Jews became disconnected. So it's almost unfortunate that it became a little bit of a responsibility of the Jewish people to remind the non-Jewish population of what is God's plan for them. Now, again, everyone knows Jews don't proselytize. We don't go over to non-Jews and encourage them to become Jewish. In fact, the other way around, if a non-Jew wants to become Jewish, we initially discourage them. But Maimonides does say that we do have a mission to the Gentiles, and that is to teach them and encourage them in the observance of the 7 Noahide laws. Now, that has largely been a dormant project for most of the Jewish people because we're still working on getting Jews to keep the Torah. But many of you know that one of the Rebbe's projects, many projects, most of his projects involve the Jewish people, but one of his mitzvos, one of his projects was indeed to teach and encourage the non-Jewish world to observe the 7 commandments of Noach. And the Rebbe did not just make this up. This is actually based on a passage in Maimonides, where Maimonides says that the Jewish people have such an obligation. But it's really a fallback position. I want to point out that optimally it shouldn't have been our job. Optimally there should have been a received tradition within the non-Jewish world of what these laws were. When that tradition got lost or broken, it now becomes our obligation to try to restore it. Now, the Noahide laws overlap with the 10 Commandments, but they're not the same. Don't kill, don't steal, don't commit adultery or incest, do not eat a limb from an animal that was severed when it is alive, because that's a form of cruelty to animals. Don't steal, so it's the protection of life, protection of property, protection of marital faithfulness, respect for animal abuse, not abusing animals. And there actually is a commandment to establish a court system that will adjudicate fairly and promulgate justice. Now, the Torah does not micromanage that, unlike for the Jewish people, where God gives us rules for every type of case. The Torah kind of gives Noahide societies the leeway to kind of formulate their own standards, as long as they are just, as long as they are equally applied, as long as they respect the dignity of man. So that is that 7th Noahide law that's very, very broad, and it actually gives non-Jewish societies the ability to formulate different standards. That's why in the United States, New York could have one set of laws, California could have another set of laws, and that would actually be legitimate under the Noahide code. So if you look at it, in recent years, really thank God, and maybe it's a sign that Mashiach is coming, the Noahide movement of the righteous Gentiles has greatly expanded. If you Google Noahide laws, you will find various websites, some of which are written by Jewish teachers, but some of which are written by non-Jewish teachers. who have studied the Noahide laws, and they become, in effect, the rabbis for the Gentiles. And that is actually a legitimate and proper role for them to play. And again, I'll repeat, according to Maimonides, based on passages in the Talmud, the righteous Gentile who adheres to the 7 laws of Noach will have a share in Olam Haba. This is very unique because, unlike most other religions, we do not teach that the only path to salvation is Judaism. There are alternative paths to salvation, and Gentiles indeed have an alternative path which is worthy and beloved in the eyes of God.
Moment of Wisdom. Sub-brief and life-changing moments. Join us. Subscribe to Moment of Wisdom channels on YouTube, Telegram, Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp.